Air fryer bread rolls. This is how we cook bread in our air fryer. You simply roll them, place them in the air fryer, and they're absolutely delicious. They're also ideal for freezing and perfect for dunking into your soup, chilli or stews. My name is Samantha, and along with my husband Dominic, who is behind the camera, we will be showing you today 12 different ways to incorporate the bread maker and the air fryer to make delicious kitchen gadget recipes. We are big fans of the bread maker dough, and what we like about the dough is how you can transform it for the air fryer recipes, or just keep it as dough, or just make it to use some bread. Today it's all about having some fun while the kids are at school and spending the day in the kitchen teaching you different ways to cook with these kitchen gadgets. And if you want to follow along with this series, simply head over to our YouTube channel and you can scroll through the different videos that we've done today. So once you've got your dough out of the bread machine, it is time to place it on a floured kitchen worktop or just somewhere that you normally do your prep on. You know, my husband always says that the flour is your best friend, and that is because, you know, it stops the dough from sticking to you, it helps with your efficiency, and it makes it easier for the clean-up job later. So now Dominic's going to make them all into dinner rolls. That's a question. What do you call them where you live? We call them just bread rolls, but I know in America a lot of people call them dinner rolls. And when we used to live in Manchester in England, they were always called barm cakes. Oh, doesn't that lovely bread roll look good? So you're probably wondering, how many bread rolls does this dough make? Well, that comes down to what size that you're going with. Because when we're making ours, we kind of often do them in the air fryer, or we just want a small one to be dunked into a bowl of warm soup. So we don't really have a quantity in mind. We just kind of make a batch of dough and then just see how many it makes from there. What's even better about these bread rolls is that they freeze incredibly well. We did some Instant Pot freezer meals. And what we did with those is, because we were planning on making some soups, we followed this exact recipe here for our bread maker dinner rolls, and then we cooked them in the air fryer, and then once they were cool, we froze them. And this was fantastic because you could just warm up your frozen dinner rolls in the air fryer, and they were just fantastic. And as you can see, we're not actually using a rolling pin here. You can just make them into balls with your hands. You can also use them if you love pull apart bread. You can just cook them quite close together, like how you can see we're prepping them right now, because they're just ideal for that too. You can also season them in advance if you want. You can add seeds to the top of them. You can add egg wash to give them a more brown colour. It's totally up to you what you do with them. What we're showing you today is how to create them, and then it's up to you how you cook them and what you do with them. So as you can see, I was kind of imagining that we would get 6 out of this batch, but as you can see, Dominic's still got some dough left and he's already made 7 for us. So I'm thinking maybe 9 might be a good amount here. But I think it depends what size you want, because if you went a lot bigger than that, you know, you might only make 4, for example. And then they're just perfectly ready for cooking. You can also place them in the fridge, and if you want really, really big dinner rolls, you could place them in the fridge for an hour and they will carry on proving and will increase in size even further. So as you can see, I was right, exactly 9 out of this batch, and don't they look fantastic? As you can see, Dominic didn't need to knead them, he didn't need to make much effort with them. He literally floured his hands and made them into dinner rolls or bread roll shapes. So you've made your bread rolls and you're excited to be able to cook air fryer bread rolls. So what I recommend you do if you want that lovely golden glow is that you make yourself some egg wash. The easiest way to do this is to use like a little ramekin or something similar. Crack an egg into it. You can also use a little splash of milk if you want to, or season it, it's totally up to you. But in this example, we're just beating an egg and we're just going to brush it on. If you want seeds on your bread, or let's say for example you're making some traditional hamburger buns in the air fryer, you can use your egg wash to help your seeds stick to the bread dough. And then just give them a good brush and then they will be ready for the air fryer. You'll find with air fryers that there's very few that are big enough to do a full batch of bread rolls at once. So depending on your size of your air fryer, you're probably talking somewhere between 4 and 7, especially if you're doing them as pull apart bread rolls, because when you're doing pull apart bread rolls, they're literally touching each other in the air fryer basket, so you'd be able to fit more of them in there compared to if you're just doing them as separate air fryer dinner rolls. So once you've added the egg wash, you need to assess how many bread rolls you can cook in your air fryer at the same time. We're using the Philips Air Fryer XL, which I imagine, given the size of our basket, 6 of these will be the ideal size. If we were using our original Philips air fryer, which is much smaller, we would have just done 4. So think of the size of yours. If you have a look, this is what our Philips air fryer is like for size. You know, if you don't want any crowding whatsoever, then 4 is often the best option. Though I often find, like Dominic's demonstrating in this video, is that 4 around the edges, 1 in the middle is kind of the perfect size. And this really suits us too, because we're actually a family of 5. So let's say we're having some soup for dinner and we want a bread roll each, we can just place 5 of them in the air fryer and it's ideal. So the next step is to get your air fryer going and to cook your bread rolls. We recommend that you focus on a cook time and a temperature where your bread rolls are not going to overcook and they're not going to be too brown on the top. We found 10 minutes. It depends on the temperature with the power of your air fryer. For example, we would recommend 170 Celsius, 340 Fahrenheit if you have the newer Philips air fryer double XL, because we find this one's a lot more powerful than the other air fryers. But for the average everyday air fryer, I would recommend about 180 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit, because it's just that ideal medium temperature that works with a lot of air fryer recipes. So once it's getting going, you're just waiting for the beep to enjoy your lovely bread rolls. So we're now waiting for the air fryer to beep and just to see how good the bread is. It beeped. So let's see, shall we? I love air fryer bread and it's so nice to demonstrate such a great recipe with you today. So Dominic, being the crazy chef dude, is putting very hot bread in his hands. You know, other people may prefer to use tongs. As you can see, a little bit of it is stuck to the bottom in one of them, but the rest of them hasn't. So as you can see, it's just perfect bread. You know, you can't beat this. You know, you can use your own dough, you can use our bread maker dough, or you can also use the air fryer for reheating bread rolls. It's just fantastic, and I just wish more people would make bread in an air fryer because it's just amazing. So please comment below with which bread maker and air fryer you have at home in your kitchen. Here in the Milners, we have just a cheap bread maker that we got from Amazon Germany that we had shipped to us, and we also use the Philips Air Fryer XL, which we've had for a few years now. And if you are into air fryers and bread makers, do head over to recipethis.com, as we have a lot of recipes for you to choose from there. and all the recipes that we're mentioning in these videos you can find over there too. Thanks for watching. We have a huge collection of kitchen gadget recipes including air fryer, instant pot, slow cooker, soup maker and many others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Best of all, join our newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter. There we have plenty of printables, cooking time cheat sheets, free ebooks and mini courses to help you along your way in your kitchen gadgets journey.